Like so many other manufacturers, BMW is on a mission to go fully electric by the next decade, and the company started this transition about 2 years ago with the introduction of the new BMW iX and i4. They followed it up by adding a third model, the flagship electric BMW i7, and for 2024 we're seeing a fourth variant added. This right here is the all-new, first-ever BMW i5, a fully electric version of the redesigned 5 Series, and just like its sibling, it's going to be offered in two different variants, an eDrive 40 with a single motor and a more performance-oriented version here known as the i5 M60. For you enthusiasts out there, this model here offers nearly 600 horsepower and up to 256 miles of range. So today we're actually out here in Spartanburg, South Carolina for the annual BMW Test Fest event, and the big question I went and answered, for those of you who have been wanting to drive an all-electric version of the 5 Series, was the wait for this all-new i5 worth it? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we start talking about the exterior styling for this first ever BMW i5, let me go ahead and pop the hood and show you guys what's powering this thing. Now, first of all, the million-dollar question with a lot of EVs, does this vehicle have a frunk? Sadly, just like other BMW models, it does not have a frunk. Instead, it has a very large plastic cover, but let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain specs. Now, underneath this hood, you can see this is literally one of the biggest plastic engine covers that I've ever seen, but BMW essentially will launch this model here in America with two different variants. There's the iDrive, or the i5 eDrive 40, which has a single electric motor at the back, or this i5 M60, which has dual electric motors with the company's xDrive all-wheel drive system. All models will use an 81.2 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack. The i5 M60, however, offers up to 593 horsepower and 549 pound-feet of torque. Now, that torque figure rises to 605 pound-feet when you guys have it in boost mode or you use the launch control. So again, this has nearly 600 horsepower and basically over 600 pound-feet of torque. It all goes out through a one-speed reduction gear transmission. And BMW claims this model here should be good for 0 to 60 in around 3.7 seconds, which is likely conservative. The single motor rear drive eDrive 40 will probably do it in around 5.7 seconds. This model should also has a top speed of around 155 miles an hour. And as this vehicle sits, it weighs in at just over 5,200 pounds. So this is a good 1,000 pounds heavier versus the gas variant, which, again, the battery pack where it lines the floor is going to be adding most of the additional weight. But let's go ahead and close up this hood and talk about the exterior styling. Now, first of all, if you guys have seen the new 5 Series, the i5 essentially looks the same, and that's really where BMW is doing the right thing here by showing off electric vehicles that essentially look just like the internal combustion engine versions of their platforms. Unlike Mercedes, which has their weird egg-shaped design of their EQ models, these models here just look like the conventional gas-powered versions. You can see this color is a beautiful shade of color, or shade of black called carbon black metallic. It actually looks a little bluish in this light over here. It looks great with the sport package lines that you come with that are on this model here. You can see the headlights. These headlights here are more conventional looking as opposed to the divorced headlights you find in the 7 Series. You can see this has the BMW performance LEDs with LED daytime running light and turn signals, which are slightly sequential. You also have LED low and high beams. You have the massive BMW twin kidney grille, which actually is very manageable compared to the grills that you find on the 7 Series and the i4 and the 4 Series. You can see for the i5, you have a closed off portion in the grille where you don't actually need the actual openings, although it looks like there seems to be an active grille shutter here. There's an M badge here to show this is the M60. And then with the Shadowline package, you can see the grille actually has an LED light that kind of accents the twin kidneys to show off this vehicle's light signature at night. Down here, you can see no fog lights, but you do have some functional air openings, which I believe include more active grille shutters. This color combination with the black accents looks really sharp. In fact, I think this car, compared to its competitors, is one of the best looking vehicles out there. Although the Audi e-tron GT, you could kind of see that as a competitor, is still more attractive, but I just really appreciate the traditional 3-box shape of the i5, just like the 5 Series. Now, around the side profile here, you can see the new i5, just like the 5 Series, is a much bigger vehicle. It's grown by about 3.8 inches compared to a gas 5 Series from the previous generation, and its wheelbase is around 117.9 inches long. It's 199 inches long, so this has the presence almost of like a 7 Series. And to, again, accommodate the battery pack, which is lining the floor, this platform is designed to run on gas or electric combinations. BMW did have to raise the height of this vehicle by around 1.3 inches. It's also 1.4 inches wider as well to accommodate the battery pack to preserve the interior space. Now, looking at the wheels, these are an optional 21-inch wheel with a machine and black inner spoke pocket. It kind of has almost an aerodynamic look to it. The tires are Continental Eco Contact 6. These are kind of like EV tires that are all season. You have a 255 by 35 R21 in the front. They're a fatter 275, I believe, in the rear. The brakes with the M Sport, you can see you have the red painted 4 or 6 piston caliper with probably an over 15-inch rotor. I couldn't find the actual specs for it. This car does come with an adaptive suspension, and the electric version, the i5, comes standard with an adaptive or with an air suspension in the rear. Now, looking at the side mirrors, you can see you have the M-specific side mirrors here, which are black painted. They're power folding. They have a camera and integrated turn signal. And then my tester here has the panoramic glass roof, which does not open to let in air, but it has a beautiful ambient light signature at night and a retractable sunshade. You can see the window trim is also blacked out on this model here. And overall, looking at the rest of the profile, it really does just remind me a lot of a 7 Series. I think BMW did a really great job with the new 5 Series and i5. It's just a handsome and attractive looking vehicle. Take my word for it. See it in person before you pass judgment on it in pictures, because I think BMW did a really good job, especially if you prefer more conservative lines from a modern BMW. You can see the rear have these really interesting kind of slim LED taillights with another sequential style LED turn signal. You can see the badging here. It says i5. You have the blue outlined BMW logo here to show that this is an electric model. And then the M60 badge here to again show that this is the performance variant. Down here on the rear diffuser, it certainly looks a little bit more aggressive. Your reverse light is going to be found right there in the center. It's a full LED. And then when it comes to charging the i5, you're going to find the charge port door over here. You can see this model here still has the CCS combo plug. So you have a J1772 outlet along with a CCS combo. BMW has confirmed they are going to move to the NAC Tesla plug by the year 2025. All BMWs should be able to use the Tesla supercharging network by 2025 as well. And this car is now the quickest charging electric BMW. It'll accept up to 205 kilowatts, which is BMW says is good to go from 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes. It has an 11 kilowatt onboard charger, so expect roughly 9 hours to charge on a level 2 at your home, which again is pretty average for the class, if not slightly slower, because this runs on the 400-volt architecture. Now, looking at the trunk area, you can see the i5 does have a slightly smaller trunk compared to the 5 Series gas. BMW says this model has roughly 17-ish cubic feet of storage space, which is actually still among the bigger trunks when you look at conventional sedan-style vehicles. You can see the seats do fold down in a 40-20-40 manner, which is nice. Underneath here, there's also a little bit of underfloor storage, which is great. That's where you can hide your mobile charger for the vehicle. And you do have these hinges that intrude a little bit on the cargo area, but there's a little cutout for them so they won't crush your cargo. You can see also there's a power opening and closing trunk lid, but overall, as far as conventional trunks, this is certainly among the bigger in the class. So now let's move on to the interior of the first ever BMW i5. Before we get inside, however, let me show you guys the key fob. You can see this is the current intelligent access key that BMW has been using for a lot of their newer models. You can see it has the M colors there on the fob itself. You have your usual lock button here where you can push it 3 times to activate remote start. There's an unlock, power liftgate or power trunk lid, and then panic feature. BMW also offers a digital key function where you can use your phone as a key if you guys are an owner of this vehicle. Now you can see the door handle is that newer door handle from a lot of other electric BMWs. There's a little ridge area here. If you touch that, that'll lock the door for you. It also has an auto walk-away lock and unlock feature if you have that turned on. If I have the key fob on me and I walk away, it'll lock. If I approach the vehicle, it'll unlock. You can kind of set that up yourself. Touch the back of that door handle and you can see, pull it out and it'll unlock the door for you. Now my tester here with the carbon black exterior, which is actually a very, very dark blue, has a wonderful color combination. This is the Veganza, I think it's Veganza, smoked white leather interior. It's actually a fake leather. This is a vegan leather. It's a completely leather-free interior. It's BMW's first. This essentially replaces the Sensatec in a lot of the older BMW products. And I have to say, for a fake leather, this is an incredibly plush material. It feels durable. It looks fantastic. These seats are also heated and they offer around a 18-way power adjustment. Sadly, this is not a cooled seat, however. If you guys want a cooled seat, it's an extra upcharge on top of the options that my tester already has. I think for 90,000 plus, it should come standard with cooled seats, which is a little bit insulting. You can see on the door panel, you have this nice soft touch injection molded plastic, some piano black trim, along with some genuine carbon fiber and aluminum speaker covers for the Bowers & Wilkins stereo. You have a version of the interaction bar in this car from the 7 Series, and then it's nice and padded over here with contrasting stitching. Down here, it's slightly padded where there's a little bit of storage. The window controls are one touch for all four. The quality of the controls feel high quality and tactile. You can see you have 2-person memory seats along with your door lock switch there, but overall, the interior definitely makes a great first impression. Now getting inside, you can see this has a low step-in because it's a sporty sedan. Even though this vehicle is taller this year, if I close the door has a nice solid sounding thunk. I will say that I have to slam the door pretty hard to actually get it to shut all the way. There were so many times where I thought I slammed it hard enough and the car was telling me the door was still open, but you can see here, just like on the new 7 Series, you have a version of the interaction bar and you have the latest version of BMW's iDrive 8.5 software. So you can see here, it's a combination of 2 screens, a 12.3-inch display in the instrument panel and a 14.9-inch display here in the center stack. If I want to start the vehicle up, the start-stop button is right here. Push that button with my foot on the brake. You can hear it has the iconic sounds and the chimes and whatnot. It makes for an interesting ambiance when you turn the vehicle on. The executive package of my tester also adds the crystal glass controls for the iDrive controller for the start-stop button. And it goes well, of course, with the interaction bar on the dashboard. Now you can see here the steering wheel, it's got the blue accented logo here. It's a really nice looking steering wheel. You can see it has one paddle on the left side here to access the boost function, flat bottom design here with the contrasting M stitching. It also has a power tilt telescoping feature, which is nice. You have a little red accent here, red marker to show that this is the performance-oriented variant, and then you can see there's a heads-up display here. On the upper part of the dash, there's a soft-touch injection molded plastic. That's the same from the door panel. More carbon fiber trim here, and then this system here, you can see the CarPlay is loaded up. It looks fantastic. It's quick and snappy. You can also go back to the BMW display where you can show GPS. You can go to your apps. This new iDrive 8.5 also has video games built into the screen and your streaming services like Spotify, for example, built into the screen as well. So that's part of the whole iDrive 8.5 software. Most of you will probably just put it into the CarPlay mode. If I put the vehicle into reverse, you can see full 360 camera that looks great resolution. It has their backup assistance, all that tech that you expect. Down here, you can see the BMW has gone away with a lot of the buttons. In fact, all your climate control buttons are now located in the screen. You can see, push that, there's your heated seat and heated steering wheel. But again, no cooled seats at this price point, which is a little insulting. It should already be standard. I shouldn't have to pay extra for cooled seats. Down here you can see your vents. Very interesting looking, where if you want to open and close the vent, you actually use this little touch slider here that opens and closes it. And then if you want to adjust the airflow, you kind of have to go here on the lower portion below the vent. This allows you to change the airflow out. You have a wireless phone charging pad here, although it's just one. This side here is not a wireless charger. It's only just a place where you can put your phone, cup holders and whatnot. You have some piano black plastic trim. And then over here, you can see your gear selector is here for the 1-speed reduction gear transmission. Your My Mode selector, drive mode selector is here where you can go between a personal, sport, efficient, expressive mode. This is kind of like the i7 as well, where you can do different themes for the interior, which definitely look really, really nice. You have your volume control here, and then you have your shortcut buttons over here. This is a nice padded center console here. If I push this button here, you can see it offers a pretty decent amount of storage where it's lined with felt. It's a really nice area there to hide some stuff. And then the seats, like I mentioned earlier, BMW does not offer massaging seats, but these are among the nicest fake leather seats that I've ever sat in, and it really kind of shows you don't even need to spend extra for the genuine leather. The glove compartment here, if I open that up, it's a bin style, it's damped, and it's lined with felt. It offers a good amount of storage. There's no digital camera rearview mirror here. You have an auto dimming rearview mirror, and then you can see here, big panoramic glass roof, which lets in a lot of light, but you can't actually vent this to let in some fresh air, which would be nice. You have also some LED map lighting here, which again, you kind of expect that when you go for this type of vehicle. But overall, the interior certainly has all the latest tech that you want. It's very much identical to a 5 Series, but what BMW really got right is the fact that they took a lot of the luxury and technology features from the flagship 7 Series. But let's go ahead and hop into the backseat area of the i5. And this is where the i5 is going to offer more space versus something like the i4, but obviously it's not going to be as spacious as the i7. Now, BMW says there's around 36.5 inches of legroom back here. That's a reduction of about 0.5 compared to the 5 Series gas. You can see over here on the door panel, it's got a soft touch material. Padded over here, you have metal speaker covers as well. The seats do fold down in a 60/40 manner. And I also love the smoke white color, the two-tone look of the seats, which are carried over back here. Now, as I get back here, you can see, let me shut the door. This is where I have the seat to drive, and you can see for somebody my height, the floor is nice and low. There's good foot space. There is a hump here that intrudes on the middle passenger because this car has to have an internal combustion engine. There's still the hump there. You do have rear seat air vents, 2 USB-C charging ports. No separate climate control here, however, which is, I believe, available on other, as an option package, although I think not here in the US. You can see there's a little mounting point there for a rear seat entertainment package. There's 2 more USB-C charging ports. And then if you fold this down, there's an armrest that gives you 2 cup holders, which is nice. Above me here, you can see the headroom space is acceptable. If you're over 6 feet, it may be a little bit tight, but overall the back seat is certainly better than an i4. But if you want maximum rear seat space, be sure to take a look at an i7. So here we are finally behind the wheel of the first ever BMW i5, the fully electric version of the 5 Series. And just like the i7 and the i4 that I've also had a chance to drive, my first impressions of this car are quite positive. BMW, I think, made the right step in essentially just creating a new version of the 5 Series, or the 4 Series or the 7 Series, and just making a fully electric version, so you don't have to really confuse customers with different names. You don't have to design a completely different vehicle. This car looks like I'm driving essentially just a 5 Series, just the electric version, and they call it the i5. And I have to say, for the M60 version, first impressions are great. The ride quality of this car is good. This model comes with adaptive suspension, and you also have a rear air suspension that's standard on the electric version of this car. It really just adds to the refined feeling. I mean, outside this car kind of looks like a 7 Series, and it essentially drives like a very, very refined version of the 5 Series. It has kind of that characteristics. This car has always kind of blended a 3 Series with a 7 Series, and given it to you in a package that kind of makes sense for people. Now, this model here also has the Veganza leather-free interior, and I have to say these seats are really comfortable. They feel much softer and more compliant versus like the Sensatec that replaces, the Veganza is essentially replacing. And you can get this car with a full leather interior if you'd like. If you guys prefer a full leather interior, let's go ahead and try out the turning radius here. It feels really good with the active rear steering. Put my foot down. The iconic sounds are also there and present, and they just add to the visual drama. BMW says with nearly 600 horsepower, 593 horsepower, this thing should get to 60 in around 3.7 seconds. It feels every bit as fast as that. I'm gonna see if I can do a quick little 0 to 60 launch control test here up ahead. And to do that, you essentially have to put the car into its boost setting here, which I have it in. Brake torque it. Oh! Oh, the seatbelt's literally holding me tightly there. 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds. So as usual with the Germans, it's a conservative number. And when you activate the launch control and use the boost function, that's where it unlocks a little bit more torque. So instead of 549 pound-feet of torque, we have 605 pound-feet of torque. So for a car that doesn't have a full-on, full-fat M badge on it, this thing is pretty darn close. It's amazing to me how fast this car is for not being a full-on M5. I suspect if you line this up next to a gas-powered M5, this should deliver pretty similar performance because, again, it is electric, so you get all that extra speed. But let's go ahead and here try it one more time. Sport boost, brake torque it, launch control active. Oh, Jesus. 3.4 there. Oh, my seatbelt's literally holding me in place. It's like a roller coaster ride. This thing is just insane. I just drove earlier today the BMW i7 M70i, or M70. There's no I in these electric cars, and that car did it in 3.2 seconds. So, and it was also $195,000. This car is around $95,000, and I just did it in 3.4 seconds, so it's not that much slower. So if you guys are thinking you need to buy the i7 M70 to get the fastest acceleration, you don't have to. This car is just insane how bloody fast it is, and it's so easy to achieve. I mean, you don't even have to use the launch control thing. Just put your foot down, and it's just like so fast, so much performance. The instantaneous thrust is what people love about electric vehicles, and it kind of reminds me that, you know, as we go further and further into the electrification age, BMW is doing it right here by creating that audible drama. That's something, as a lot of EVs drive the same. BMWs, for me, they're fast and they drive similarly, but the iconic sounds that's created by, you know, by Hans Zimmer and just the whole visual and audible experience definitely makes this car stand out, and it's wonderful. Now, this car is also heavy. It weighs a full 1,000 pounds, 1,200 pounds heavier versus the 530i that I just drove earlier today. And I have to say, BMW does a really good job at hiding the weight because the battery pack is keeping the weight down low. And essentially, you get a car that feels sporty to drive, that feels really buttoned down to the road, glued down to the road, and that's going to help, of course, with that trademark BMW driving feel. I mean, BMW is known as the ultimate driving machine, and the steering in this car, just like in the 530i, is really light and kind of numb and devoid of feel. So once you kind of get past that, if you guys are coming from an older 5 Series, that's going to be something you're going to have to get used to. But again, the massive straight line acceleration, which is crazy, the seats, which are comfortable, the visibility in this car, the entire ambiance. I think BMW just does a way better job than Mercedes does with their EQ products. And this, to me, feels like a worthy competitor to something like the Audi e-tron GT, but you get better technology, way better infotainment systems, you get more space on the interior. So this, to me, unless initial first drive, this is one of my favorite driving mid-size executive electric luxury sedans. And it seems like a worthy adversary to something like the Tesla Model S or even something like the Tesla Model 3, although technically the i4 is what competes more with the Model 3. This car does come with regen braking. My favorite setting is on the medium setting, where it gives you just enough regen braking where it's not incredibly jarring. And then in terms of the range right now, I just did those 0 to 60 times at 58% state of charge. Now, I'll have to wait until I get one home to retest one in my home area to do a range test to see if the performance is actually better when you have a full charge. BMW says it shouldn't make a difference really, because they've kind of tuned it that way. They've programmed it to kind of give you maximum acceleration throughout most of the range of the battery pack. But this model that we're driving here should do around 240 miles of range on a full charge. That is not really great numbers. And of course, you're gonna have to blame the 21-inch wheels. You have to blame the performance version. The highest version of this car will do around 295 miles of range. The best range that you'll do in the M60, which is the model I'm driving here, is around 256 when you have the smaller 19-inch wheels. But overall, this car, BMW really did a phenomenal job at essentially just transforming the gas version of the 5 Series into this electric version. And I think for those of you who are looking for a 5 Series, but you want to go into the fully electric space, remember, there is a plug-in hybrid version of the 5 Series coming, but if you want to make the full leap and basically get something that's super close to an electric M5, you should definitely put this 2024 i5 M60 at the top of your list. So after finally getting a chance to drive the all-new first ever BMW i5, I have to say, just like the other fully electric BMW models, the i5 punches above its weight in terms of driving feel, in terms of luxury, in terms of build quality, in terms of design. This vehicle is one excellent driving luxury sports sedan that perfectly blends or blurs the line between a 3 Series, which is a little bit too small for some people, and a 7 Series, which is a little bit too much like a luxury barge. This is, again, the perfect size executive sports sedan for a lot of enthusiasts out there. And it kind of makes sense for BMW to do an electric version of the 5 Series as well, because as you guys saw, 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds is absolutely insane. It's about 0.3 seconds faster than BMW's claim. I'll have to wait until I get one for a full week in my home area to do an actual extensive range test on this vehicle, because again, I got the car where it had around 60% charge. It was only showing around 180 miles of range. This model here with the 21 should do around 240 miles of range, which is acceptable numbers, pretty comparable to the last EQE that I tested. But in a world where people, or a lot of other manufacturers, are doing at least 300 miles, some doing 400, 500 miles even, BMW needs to play a little bit of catch up there to improve the range figures. Although again, most of you should be able to make around 240-ish miles of range work. It'll just be a little bit annoying on a longer commute. In terms of the interior, it's full of the latest tech features. That's also filled with a lot of premium touches. The inside of this car actually reminds me a lot of the i7, which is a very good thing. The back seat offers decent amount of space, although it does have a little bit less legroom than some of its competitors. The i5 does lose a little bit of legroom compared to the gas variant. The trunk is also really big, and this car is also a really attractive looking vehicle, especially when you guys get it with the right options. This carbon black with the smoke white interior on this particular test car is a really great color combination with these 21-inch wheels. But overall, if you're looking to get your hands on the BMW i5, they are heading to dealerships as we speak, and pricing is going to start at around $66,800 for the eDrive 40. So that's the single motor rear drive variant, which will do up to 295 miles of range with the 19-inch wheels. If you guys get the bigger wheels, it'll drop the range down to 270 miles. The M60 is going to cost about $18,000 more. It's a pretty big jump to go to the M60. That's the only way you're going to get all-wheel drive for now on the i5. So this model here will start at around $84,000. I know $84,000 is a lot of money. With the options that my tester has, like the M Sport package, the driver assistance package, the 21-inch wheels, for example, this model here with destination comes in at just over $93,000. I know $93,000 $15,000 bucks is a lot of money, but it's about the same price as the last EQE 580 that I tested. And to be honest, I would rather have the BMW all day long. But again, I'll have to wait until I get one for a full week where I can do a more extensive range testing with the vehicle. I'll do an updated 0 to 60 test. I'll show you guys what the car's ambient lighting is like on the inside at nighttime, and we'll see if BMW has truly created the best electric version of essentially all of their electric models. Well, all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2024 BMW i5 M60. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.